Hot Wheels Unleashed, the game that took my channel from a little bit less than 350 subs to now a little over 8,200 subs in just 1 year. I actually cannot believe it has already been a year since this game has came out, and I figure it is time to finally give a review for this game. I've been wanting to share my thoughts about this game, but nothing has felt it was the right time, so I figure the 1 year anniversary was perfect. To pretty much give a quick summary for this game is that Hot Wheels Unleashed, so awesome. And bad.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Yep, this game has done a lot of things perfectly or near perfectly. Then there were like some things that were okay, and then the rest were just wrong. Like some things that games shouldn't even be doing anymore. So let's just get into it, shall we? Before we talk about this game, let's bring it back in a few months just before the release. And let's just talk about the hype and the build that this game made. Just out of nowhere, Milestone dropped the first trailer for this game back around February, I believe, and immediately this got everyone's attention.
I feel like the toy car perspective would be so much better for them. Yeah.
But wow, the music, the aesthetic, the vibe already is really dope. Oh gosh, look at that orange track, man.
Expected an immersed location.
It's cool that he's driving under a real life car for this first part. Like, that's pretty good texturing. Like, that's really crazy. Alright, so yeah, I think it's gonna be like a Beat That 2.
This is pretty much the first thing that Hot Wheels did perfect or near perfectly. That it perfectly described what it was like to play with Hot Wheels as a kid.
This is exactly how I pictured it. This is exactly how I pictured it when I was a kid, bro. When I was a kid playing with them.
Had it where they were going through all these sick kinds of loops, jumps, corkscrews, but at the end of the day, these were just still toys. Then about a month later or so, I believe Milestone released another trailer for this game, and it was more about what kind of cars were coming into the game. Now in this trailer, it's the second thing they did right. They knew exactly who was going to play this game, and it only took a 10-second clip.
Wheels universe. And when you think you couldn't ask for more, well, there's more.
They knew that kids were going to play this game, but also there was going to be a more mature audience that grew up with Hot Wheels. And they showed that by showing off RDO2. One of the cars from Hot Wheels' possibly biggest IP since still almost 2 decades now, Hot Wheels Acceleracers.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Then later on in this game's life cycle, they would add more cars from this series and then from its previous predecessor, World Race. And that's pretty much it from the build-up for this game. Nothing really came out till launch. Like, they did talk about some mechanics, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Hot Wheels Unleashed came out with 3 types of special editions. The basic one, where it was just the game, and when you pre-order it, it came with 2 cars, Track Manga and JayCee Squared. Then you have the collector's edition that came with the game, the 2 previous cars, along with the beefed up pack and the first volume of this game. Then, the vinyl edition, called the Ultimate Sun Edition, came with everything from the last 2 tiers, along with the Street Beast pack and Volume 2 of this game. Also, as a side bonus, you get to play the game 3 days earlier.
Fuck with boys!
The game came with 3 game modes, them being the campaign, called City Rumble, multiplayer. Then you had quick play, which was either race or time trials. Along with all of this, there was this little side part called the basement, where you had this private room and you can customize it any way that you want. And this is probably the first bad thing this game did, or really it was just okay, just lacklustered.
Whoa! This is worthless.
There was no real incentive to use this part, except for just one little gimmick, where that if you were in a race that took place in the basement would actually change to whatever you made in this mode. Like what I said, campaign was called City Rumble, and it took place on this toy city road map. Essentially, you would either race or do time trials in the various environments that the game came with, which them being the basement, skate park, skyscraper, the college lab or library, I don't know. Then you have the garage, and then as a special side one that's not in the campaign is just the track lab. Now, as a reward for winning for these races or for winning these time trials, you would either get coins, gear, sometimes secret cars, or just little side things for your basement, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Now, each environment had a boss fight, or that's what they called it. It was really more just a special track piece that would have their own power or special mechanic. The Nitro bot, the garage boss, had special boost packs that would change direction in a bonus.
What's going on?
Then the Scorpion, which was the skate parks, would spray venom or this acid goo that would eat away your car's boost. The Yeti, the science lab, would have ice patches that would lock up your car if you drove over it, where it would not turn. Then you have the Pterodactyl, which is the skyscrapers, which would make these little mini tornadoes, and if your car got into it, it would just pick it up and just shake it around. There was a little glitch with this where you can respawn and you get out of it, but they later patched this. That's definitely going to bad category. But anyways, there was finally the haunted house, where it would have these 3 ghosts where that would randomly pop up and down, and if your car hit one of them, it would cover your screen like the squid from Mario Kart. And like I said before, if you won a race or you beat the time trials, you would either get gear, which could upgrade your car, coins that could be used to buy more cars or tracks or stuff for your basement. Then you had secret cars, and then finally you would either win loot boxes. Yes, you heard me. There is loot boxes in this game. Granted, loot boxes that you can't buy, but this is probably one of the worst things in this game. Pretty much after you won the campaign, loot boxes were the only way for you to collect cars, unless you got really lucky and that one car you wanted was in the store rotation. When this game came first released, it would take 4 in-game hours. Not actual 4 hours, but 4 hours you had to stay on for one rotation. Later on, they do fix this by shortening the time, number of cars in the rotation. However, at launch, you only had 5 cars to pick, and you had to probably pay 500, 1200, or possibly 2000 coins just to get one car.
What?
2000 coins to spend on one car. Now, to put into perspective on how bad that was and how bad of a system that was, after you win the campaign, if you won first place in a race, in any race, doesn't matter if it's short or long, you would only get 50 coins. You would only get 50 coins if you won in first place. So in order to get one car that was priced at $2,000, you would need to win 40 first places just for one car. And I believe there was 55 cars when this game started. And, I didn't write the math for that part, but anyways, now in the beginning there was no other way to collect gear except for destroying your cars that you had duplicates of.
Dismantle? Oh, I didn't. Oh. What? Did I just sell my car?
So if you destroyed a car, you would get 50 gears if it was common, 100 if it was rare, or 200 if it was a legendary. So now let's just see how much it would take just to upgrade that one car. In order to fully upgrade a car, it would take 350 gear from common to legendary. Now in order to get 350 gear, you would need to destroy 3 rare cars along with 1 common car, or 1 legendary car, 1 rare, and then 1 common car. Now if you chose option A, the 7 common cars, you would need 3,500 coins in order to buy the common cars, or 7 loot boxes just to get them. In order to get that many coins to spend, you would need to win 70 first places to get the 3,500 coins, so you can fully upgrade your one car. With the other 2 options, you're not going to destroy the rare. You're not going to destroy the legendary cars. Those were hard to come by. So at the beginning, this game had a very heavy grinding system. And because of that, that spilled into other aspects of this game. Multiplayer was you and 11 other players that would race against on tracks from either the campaign or tracks from other people that have made. Now on a little side note, the track customization is probably one of the best things this game has done. It's like 9 out of 10. And possibly this is the best that any Hot Wheels game has ever seen. You have people like that random dude who have used the full extension of this system, and some of the tracks that he has made, they actually kind of terrify me a little bit.
What? What are you doing?
I don't know what I'm doing!
You're going around yourself!
Ah! Shit!
Then you have people like Accelerator23 who have created the racing realms from Excel Racers and World Race, not just from the show but also from the old card game too. I highly recommend that you go and look at their channels and see what I'm talking about, or you can play their tracks for yourselves and do a little time trial and just try them out. However, remember what I said about how the tedious loot system spilled into other parts of this game? Well, in the beginning, people were making these special kinds of tracks called money farms. Essentially, these were quick tracks that would only last for a few seconds. In fact, these kind of tracks were so quick that it would take longer in the loading, it would take longer in the waiting lobby, and it would take longer in the voting booth than it did just playing the tracks. And these tracks were just drag strip races pretty much. And no matter what was on the voting line, the shortest money farm track would always win. Now, I don't blame these people who would do this. People will always take the easier route. That's just human nature. But this system is possibly the first reason why this game died so quickly. The second reason would be how this game had no crossplay. Right off the gate. Before the release, people were asking if this game was going to have crossplay, and the devs said that it will come, but they just don't know when. And after almost a year, it finally came for one day.
What?
Yeah, crossplay only stayed for one day, and they decided that PC was just going to be on its own thing, while the consoles get to have it and enjoy it. And the devs said that they are fixing this, but I don't have that much information about it. Even though this game did really die off within its first month, this game still had a loyal fan base, and that was because of 2 reasons. And these 2 reasons are the best things from this game: the track customization and the livery editor. Along with track customization, this game came out with a livery editor where you can pretty much design anything that you wanted on all your cars, as long as they are not character cars. And when I say anything, I say pretty much anything. Like I said about the track customization, the livery editor is one of the best things in this game. Along with being the best out of possibly all of the Hot Wheels games, it is almost equal to Force's livery editor, except that you can't download other people's livery designs. You can only download other people's whole car designs, but let's just say I can't download the Teku logo, or some sort of character that just didn't deserve to be deleted. Now, with all of these game mechanics, some with being near perfect to some that possibly kill the game, how does the game feel? How does it feel driving these cars? And to simply put it, it feels great. It feels near perfect. I don't really have much to say about the driving mechanics. The drifting feels good. I mean, it's almost perfect. Almost. Except for one part. And I think this has been kind of talked a lot about, and that is how come this game didn't come with power-ups or those little power boxes from Mario Kart.
Fuck, man, run the fucking ball.
Some of you are probably saying that power-ups don't belong in this game and that Hot Wheels Unleashed is an arcade racer, not a kart racer. If I wanted a racing game with power-ups, I should have just played Mario Kart, right? Well, Mario Kart has a power-up system for two reasons. One being more chaos to the map, more, where each time you play it, it feels a lot more unique. Then the second reason, and this is the bigger one, is that it's a balancer. With every game that has a multiplayer aspect, the players who were there on day one will always have an advantage against players who just started, or against players who just don't put as much time as they do.
What's that smell? Oh, what the fuck?
In Mario Kart, the power-ups will give players who are closer to first place more defensive items like a banana peel or a green shell, and I think that's actually it, while players more closer to the back will have more power-ups like the blue shell. You see, this type of system gives every player an equal chance, but back to Hot Wheels Unleashed, it doesn't have this system, and already out of the gate there was this skill gap between players. Possibly another reason why this game died out quickly. That if you made one mistake in a race, it was nearly impossible to catch up. Or you had some players that found shortcuts on certain tracks and would just exploit them. Having to where you're on your second lap and then you just see the second timer already. And that is pretty much everything about the launch of this game. The campaign was okay, kind of. Nothing really important. Also, there was no way to replay the campaign. Multiplayer would have kind of lived longer if it wasn't plagued by money farms at the start, along with if it had crossplay in the beginning too. Then, the basement had no real purpose except for one gimmick. And the only two things that were almost perfect was track customization and the library editor. So now, let's talk about post-launch.
Welcome to Death Row.
Almost all of the problems that this game faced, eventually they would all be fixed. Most of the problems, like the intensified grind system, would be fixed by increasing the reward for first place, which I think it's now 100 coins. And the store would rotate faster, which I think it's 30 minutes now. And they would also have more cars in the rotation too. Then more customized tracks would be in the voting system, and they would patch the short tracks to have it where you don't even get coins within, I think, a 30-second track now. I don't know. If you want to learn more about that, go watch Cobalt's video about his review. Then later on, the devs would add a battle pass system where you now have another way to gain coins, and now we have a second way, or actually another way, to get gears.
Finally!
Along with more things for your basement, extra cars if you bought the battle pass, and that's pretty much it that they did to fix this game post-launch. Crossplay, they did bring that eventually, but it was mostly scrapped after one day. And that's it. That is pretty much all I have to say about this game.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, the game did come with DLC, but nothing really special except for the other Excel Racers cars that came out. Like, it had the Batman expansion, the Monster Truck expansion, and then the Looney Tune expansion. All of them were fun. I think the Monster Truck one was probably the best one, since that one added a new type of vehicle where I believe barriers wouldn't affect it, or just stuff that was on the road, it would have no effect to it. So now, at the end of whatever this is supposed to be, I kind of want to talk about what this game or its sequel can do in the future. I do believe that a sequel will be for this game, and I hope there is. And I kind of want to talk about some of the stuff that I do want to see if that ever happens. Number one, crossplay on day one. That should be a no-brainer. I think everyone was asking for that. Number two, a better leveling system. Like, I don't know who gave the green light for the loot boxes or who gave the idea, but don't bring that up. Have it where we can actually earn our cards or just downright buy them. Not with like actual money, just like with more coins. Third, power-ups. And also, kind of figure you can make some more Acceleracers references. Like the top of my head, why not we just have like the Cosmic Realms charger? And that's like an infinite boost, kind of like that Boost Slam module track piece. The number 4, improve what you nearly perfected. With the track customization, why don't we get, a lot more unique pieces, or like more customization that we can do with the tracks itself. Like actually be able to change the colors, kind of like how the livery editor is. And also, I would kind of like to see like a drone sweeper starting line, kind of like how the T-Rex starting line is, where we all jump out, but it's just the drone sweeper that we do that instead. And with all of that, we need a livery design downloader where we can download like specific designs, not like a whole car, more closer to Forza's. Then the fifth and final one is that more classic or more early 2000s cars. So yeah, that is Hot Wheels Unleashed 1 year later. It did some things nearly perfect, some things just not right. However, I still have to give props to Unleash, along with Milestone, for not jump starting my channel, but also so many other people's channels too. So thank you, Hot Wheels Unleashed, for everything that you did.